happened is that they've fixed our growth, our maturity. You're fixed about the age of 15 for the rest of your life. That's how it seems. I'm not kidding either. That's how people are fixed. The guys are the same. Sports. Till the day they die, they're watching sports. They're watching international corporations that own massive sports teams where guys are paid millions of bucks each per year for throwing or kicking a ball around. Something children do. Something you grow out of as you grow up. And they knew they'd do this because H.G. Wells talked about it a long time ago. You see, when you take away your manhood, you only project it through someone else. Someone else who pretends at a weekend to be your tribe and he's fighting someone else. Because in your own life, you have no power at all. And you're putting on that fat gut with all the fast food you eat and the booze you drink. But there you are. Suddenly you see yourself as a warrior for the weekend. What a joke. What a joke. Everyone's been manipulated by science and scientific indoctrination, including their whole psychology. That's a big part of it, the biggest part of it.
Which also is going to be joined with the U.S. Under the Anglo-American establishment, wrote about the kind of culture and the changes of culture over a 100-year period that they would actually design, implement, and bring in. And H.G. Wells talked about it too. He talked about arenas. He says arenas could be put up across the world for sports, for instance. Now, at that time, sports was something that children, school children were into. Adults became adults and got onto adult things. So it was unimaginable at the time that people could actually believe that there was even a need for adult sports and entertainment, never mind having arenas built across the world. But he said we can do this and foist basically a sports culture for the males. Using a tribal system, we're all tribal to an extent. That's why we even bother to vote for a tribal leader. This is well understood. That's why we're supplied with these leaders. And because the average man was to become more disengaged from his own destiny as the expert class arose, it was decided that the males would get their outlet basically, gradually becoming helpless as males through sports. Therefore they'd have a tribal team they could identify with. They could cheer them on as though they were winning. In their own personal lives, they were getting nowhere. They were getting disenfranchised in a sense as experts took over decision making for them in all kinds of fields. So this was psychology at use, planned before they even implemented the sports.
This is a bombshell book which just came out last week, and it makes some pretty hair-raising charges against a lot of folks involved with the National Football League. The title says a lot of it: Interference, How Organized Crime Influences Professional Football. Please welcome its author, Dan Moldea. Dan? What are you hearing from the powers that be? Anything?
They just want me to go away right now.
We've spoken to them, and they don't want to talk about it either. They have nothing to say.
But they're not denying anything, and they're not refuting any of the facts.
Let me talk about some of the major charges. And I just jotted down a few of the. I mean, you're saying, for example, virtually every team owner gambles on football teams.
Well, I'm saying that no fewer than 26.
That's
NFL team owners have documented ties. Past and present NFL team owners have documented business ties to either the gambling community and or the organized crime syndicate. I'm also saying that no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed.
Now that's pretty rough stuff. You're saying no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed. You mean the outcome, the point spread, what?
I'm saying the points were shaved and thereby fixed. Yeah.
How does this happen?
Well, I first got into this about 1983. Vincent Persani, who is the head of the Michigan State Attorney General's Office Organized Crime Division, told me, if you're going to do a book about the NFL, Dan, you're going to have to get into this guy, Don Dawson, because he was fixing games. We knew it. I went to my friends and my sources at the Internal Revenue Service, the Organized Crime Intelligence Division. They said Don Dawson was fixing games. I went to the FBI, the Organized Crime and Racketeering Section of the Justice Department, and Strike Force field offices. Everybody told me what Don Dawson was fixing games. At that point, I had enough evidence to print that allegedly Don Dawson was fixing NFL games. He was a major bookmaker in the Midwest. I then went to Dawson, I tracked him down, I jumped through all kinds of hoops to interview him, and when I interviewed him on about the 7th or 8th interview, he admitted to me that he had personally participated in the fixing of no fewer than 32 NFL games.
How does that happen?
He liked to work with the quarterback. He would go to the quarterback would come to him and say, I need some bread. What's the line on the game this week? And the bookmaker would say, you guys are favored by 6 points. And then the reply was, we're not going to cover the spread. And basically that was it.
Now, do you name players?
Oh, sure. I name players. And also in 1979, I go into the specifics of 8 fixed games that were allegedly fixed by 2 referees who were investigated by both the FBI and the IRS. And I list the 8 games on page 308 of the book.
Yeah. Are drugs involved in this at all?
Yeah, drugs are the real variable in all of this. I mean, when a drug dealer has a relationship with a player, there's an extortionate edge to that situation whereby that dealer has that player's career in his hands because of the drug policies within the NFL for throwing a person out. Within the past few years, no fewer than 9 NFL teams have been investigated because their players were receiving drugs from gamblers. Now, I know gamblers who, on principle, refuse to sell drugs, but I'm not aware of many drug dealers who on principle refuse to gamble. And the key here is that the NFL is very aware of the fact, and their worst case scenario is the player who's strung out can't pay his bill to his dealer, and so the dealer comes to him and says, hey, you owe me money, and the dealer says, and the player says, I told you I can't pay it, and the dealer says, that's okay, but now you're going to come and work for me.
Now, the obvious question, you're talking about all these games being fixed, you're talking about all these people involved, you're talking about going to various agencies, and they're saying who the people are involved. Why has this gone uncovered if this is the case?
What I'm also alleging in the book is that no fewer than 50 legitimate investigations of corruption within the NFL have been either suppressed or just flat out killed as a result of a sweetheart relationship between NFL security, which is the internal police force within the league, and a variety of federal and state and local law enforcement agencies. I'm a big baseball fan, and I have more respect for baseball right now because of the way it's handled the Pete Rose case in the open and honest manner that it's handled this case than I've ever had before. I have more confidence in baseball because it's handled.
Well, how do these investigations get quashed?
Basically, the NFL security people, who are all former Justice Department people, will go to their colleagues, their old colleagues in the Justice Department or in these various law enforcement agencies, and they'll say, we can handle this internally. Let us handle it internally so that we're not getting all the publicity that we would be getting. And so to all intents and purposes, these investigations I can cite chapter investigations. Again, I cite about 50 in the book.
It is a strange sport because it is the one sport where you can go to a game and come away, even if your home team has won, disappointed because you're not as much interested in the outcome as the points.
Yeah, it's a situation where you have a game where the score is 21-20, there's 30 seconds left on the clock, the home team, you're up in the stands, and the home team has the ball on the 30-yard line. Now, the problem is that the home team had to give 3 points in the game. Now, the quarterback goes down on one knee, and the people in the stands boo. Now, they're starting to legalize gambling in Oregon. They're going to have a sports lottery, NFL lottery in Oregon, Kentucky. I mean, the state isn't in the bookmaking business for Elia Mosinary or philanthropic purposes. Yeah. They're going to be in this to make money. They're going to take a 40 to 60% skim of the handle, of the total pool of bets. And in the end, they're going to educate the public as to how to gamble, how to use the point spread. And then the public is going to realize that it can get a bigger bang for its buck from Charlie the bookie, the friendly local bookmaker at the corner bar, who's going to be put up $11 to win 10, and taking a 10% vigorish or commission on the losing Betsy books.
Now, is all this, is what you have written here going to get things unearthed?
Well, I'm hoping that there'll be a federal investigation, hopefully the Senate Select Committee, to investigate organized crime's influence in all of professional sports, not just football, but on baseball and basketball as well. I'm hoping that there will be registration and licensing of anyone with a financial interest in a professional sports team, that there will be public disclosure of financial transactions involving professional sports teams, that there will be a further examination of public ownership of teams so that the citizens of the cities in which these teams play, the public can have literally a piece of stock in those companies. I'm also afraid that the illegal gambling economy has become an adjunct to the First Amendment because of the insistence by the sports media to print and broadcast the betting line and to hire odds makers and handicappers for the purposes of...
That is true. You read the newspaper and the point spread is in there, and it's obviously in there to give you information for gambling, which is
and gambling is still illegal in 49 states until September 6th when the lottery is legalized in Oregon.
Yeah. We just have a minute here, but when you write about organized crime and involvement, does this give you any cause for concern about your own safety, and should I be doing this interview?
Yeah, sometimes it does. I had a lot of trouble when I was younger, but no one's tried to kill me in almost 6 years, so I feel pretty comfortable right now.
Well, I don't.
This is my fourth book. And I should point out I've never been sued. And I try to treat people with respect, and I think that everybody has something to say. Everyone has an ego, and mob guys are like, human beings, and you just have to be able to push the right button with them. Well, I've never met a mob guy who's not against wiretapping. Yeah. I've never met a mob guy who's not...
lugs, aren't they?
I've never met a mob guy who's not in favor of strong personal privacy laws. I'm bored for hours by mob guys who are whining about the alleged impingements upon their rights and freedoms by the FBI and the IRS.
It's a sensational book filled with sensational charges and a lot of information to back up a lot of them. It's called Interference, How Organized Crime Influences Professional Football. Dan Moldea, its author and our guest. Thanks very much. Thank you, Dan. Take a break and be right back.
Super Bowl 37 champion Dwight Smith, who was a part of that team, 2 pick sixes. We all know what he did against the Raiders. But he joins us here in the Ronnie and T-Crash Show as we count down to Super Bowl Sunday. Dwight, Ronnie, and Tom here. How are you? Welcome to the show. All right.
We have to come in right.
There it is.
Oh, is that right? Well, we got a great matchup coming up with Super Bowl 55. Obviously, the Buccaneers are playing on their home field. They're not the home team, I guess. I guess you could say they're the home team, but it's supposed to be a neutral field. But just tell me, as a former Buccaneer, how surreal is this for the Bucs to be in the Super Bowl in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium?
That's a good question, man. I would like to ask some Tampa fans that question because I really don't know.
Well, I mean, this is something that no one's ever seen before. I mean, you're hosting the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in it. It's Brady versus Mahomes. I mean,
that was something I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said if the NFL wanted to have the home team in the Super Bowl, this would be the perfect year. Pandemic, people can't travel, so it's not a shock to me.
How big of an advantage do you think it will be for the Buccaneers not having to travel anywhere? Because obviously, when you were in the Super Bowl...
That's not no advantage. I don't have no advantage.
No advantage? Okay.
No.
All right, so...
That's like saying they have advantage at every home game during the year. So, I mean, it ain't like they won every home game, so it ain't much of an advantage. Y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So, I don't get into all the X's and O's and talking, man. Like I said, I played in the game. I set a Super Bowl record, and we knew every play they was running before the game started. So, hey, who am I to say?
Well, tell us about that week leading up to the Super Bowl, because that was the big thing. Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach at the time. Obviously, John Gruden had just come over. Tell us about that week of preparation leading up to the game and how it was executed by you guys. I mean, you could know which plays are coming. And
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice come out and say that they made them run John Gruden's offense.
Yes. Yep. It was his offense, and you guys knew exactly what was coming. Did you know every single play?
They didn't run that offense all year, though. Ain't it odd that you would run it when you're playing against us?
So did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment. So what's the most entertaining Super Bowl? The Bucs in their first one against Patrick Mahomes. Has nothing to do with if these are the best teams, because we know that these aren't the best teams. The Bucs are not the best NFC team.
So who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
But the Bucs beat them at Lambeau, though. I mean, the Bucs proved it. They went there. They beat Aaron Rodgers at his place.
You can say what you want, man. Like I say, the game ain't decided on the field.
But the Bucks beat Green Bay like 38-10 at Raymond James Stadium in the regular season.
You're not listening to me, man. You keep saying
So how is it decided then if it's not on the field?
The Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007. I had two pick sixes. One I took back 93 yards, another pick up there in New York. We beat them 40-something. We didn't have Adrian Peterson. They went on to win a Super Bowl. Like, you go for who beat what and how? Like, come on, man. Stop that.
All right, so how do you see this one playing out on Sunday?
It depends on when Vegas make that call. How Vegas ain't going to lose the most money.
So do you think the Bucks' original Super Bowl that you were a part of and won was illegitimate?
I think everyone is.
If you don't mind me asking then, and we obviously appreciate giving us a little bit of time, why do an interview for the Super Bowl if you don't believe that it's set up the right way?
Y'all asked me to. Don't nobody call me no other time until Super Bowl come, right?
No, that's fair. That's a fair statement.
Did anybody, when we got on the phone, say, hey, how's your family doing? How your kids doing? No, none of that matters. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion.
And I appreciate that. We do.
We do.
I mean, that is our job, though, is to talk sports. I mean, it's not personal.
So what is your honest...
job to be real.
We understand that. So what is your honest opinion of Tom Brady being in 10 Super Bowls?
Good luck. A lot of luck,
Okay.
Because, everybody say Tom Brady, but if I can remember, there's a lot of kickers kicking kicks for him to make it there.
Well, Tom Brady did put him in a position to make those kicks.
So did Jim Kelly, but his kicker missed the kick.
He did. He did miss a kick.
Right. He did.
He did miss a kick. He also lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
But it's Jim Kelly's fault. Or it's not Tom Brady's fault if his kicker do, like, come on, man. Boy, man. We break stuff down like it's so small. Like, this is the only reason that it happened. Like, come on, man.
So the reason you guys won the Super Bowl wasn't because of your outstanding defense. It was because that's the way it was predetermined? That's what you're
telling us? If our defense was so outstanding, why we couldn't beat the Saints that year? Saints beat us twice. So why did the Oakland Raiders say, we're going to go in with the Saints game plan? Because they had Deuce McCall, they ran the ball down our throat. Why didn't they come in and say, we're going to do the same thing?
All right, D.
Now there's no more one to talk.
Well, we don't know what else to say.
We're just caught off guard a little bit. That's all.
A little bit.
To be honest with you.
Let's talk about the fact that the Lions made Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders give back money, but they traded Matthew Stafford when he wanted to be.
Yeah, well, hey.
Barry Sanders didn't want to play for John Ross. Let's
not talk about the real things, man. Let's just talk about I got you, man. I got you.
Well, Barry Sanders didn't want to play for Bobby Ross, but that's another story for another day.
So
him and Calvin Johnson both asked to be traded. They wanted to go somewhere where they could try to win. They made them retire and give some of their money back.
All right, so let's, for just a second, I just want to get your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and what he's done at his young age.
It's great, man. I mean, the key for me with most teams is let's see how your team performs after your quarterback rookie contract kicks in. After, he's off his rookie contract.
So what do you think about Jameis Winston's time in Tampa Bay now that he's in New Orleans?
Never liked it. Now, back to what I was saying. We watched the Seattle Seahawks be good until they paid Russell Wilson. We watched the Packers go to the Super Bowl until they paid Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles would win. The Rams would golf. So, you got to try to do it while you're on your rookie deal, unless you got Tom Brady as your quarterback.
All right, so how do you see this game playing out? I guess it's you already told us, right? It's just depending on what Vegas wants it to be, right?
Yeah, the New England Rams game 10-3, man. Who thought that was happening?
All right, Dwight, man, we appreciate a few minutes.
The program. So, and people were like, why are you saying this? You used to play. I'm like, yeah. I said, me speaking about this really goes against me. Like, my annuities and my portfolios in the NFL. It's under NFL. So if they go down, my stuff goes down. But I feel like you guys' souls mean much to me. So you can see the bigger picture. So you don't have to argue it Wednesday at 3 p.m. with a fan that's a Patriots fan. And y'all guys cussing each other out. And it's not even it's just all scripted. Like you want me to say, it's like I can't tell you if I was scripted when I was playing because I'm underneath that matrix where I'm just running my plays. But when you look at it outside of it, you see these calls that are being called don't make sense. You see the penalties that are happening. Like So I want people to detach from making NFL football their idol and work.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal. Malcolm Butler, who almost made the phenomenal play that wound up in Kersey's arms. There are flags on the field for a celebration. Amazing. Butler, a rookie free agent out of West Alabama.
They try to pick play, Al. They tried to go here, but he beats them to the punch. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call. You've got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. You've got a guy that's been borderline unstoppable in this part of the field. I can't believe the call.
And there is Brady. As demonstrative as ever.
Keenum's going to try to work the ball on the boundary. Keenum steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it! See Marcus Williams here. He has a shot. I'm not sure really what he's thinking, Joe. He comes in, he's got him dialed in, and he just all he's got to do is make a play. And even if he catches it, you tackle him in bounds, the game is over. And I know Diggs, he's catching this, he's expecting somebody to hit him. And he turns around, heck, nobody's there. And he's off to the races, and it's pandemonium. 61 brilliant yards for Stephon Diggs. And Case Keenum has just taken the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game in a game.
Gets the snap, wants to throw it.
Throws it for the touchdown to Jesse James. Would you believe that? The Steelers leapfrog back ahead with 28 seconds to go.
Previous play will go under review.
They are verifying it upstairs, and there's no doubt it's going to hold up.
That's a touchdown. That's got to be a touchdown.
Look at James. Now, Smith-Schuster's going to wall off the safety, and James is right in front of him. He's down, but no one touches him, so he's going to get in the end zone. This is going to stand unless he gets touched.
No, he's in. He never got touched.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wolf, what's it feel like down on the sidelines?
Feels like winning, baby. Now the Steelers have a 3-point lead. If this holds up, and it should, from our view, for every replay we looked at.
Let's go! Let's go!
Referee Tony Corrente.
After reviewing the play, the receiver in the end zone did not survive the ground. It's an incomplete pass.
This is unbelievable.
It'll be Pittsburgh's ball, 2nd down and 10 at the 10-yard line. The game clock is
10. Quick snap. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. No flag for Tommy Lee Lewis. Nickel Roby-Coleman delivered a hit. And the two officials talk to each other. Crowd's going crazy as there's no flag right on the Saints sideline.
Well, if Nickel Roby-Coleman plays the ball, it's an interception. It's probably going the other way with it. I mean, the ball's on the other side of Roby-Coleman, but that should have been a penalty. And Sean Payton is justifiably upset.
Mike Pereira, if that was a penalty, that would have in essence ended the game. Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I really do. I know it's easy in slow motion. They're close to bang bang, but that was early enough. Even high contact on the
and clearly contact before the ball got there.
Yeah, he had. I mean, all he was doing was staring down Lewis and just playing the man, and never got turned on. I mean, it can't be any more obvious than that. Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton, he just...
Favre lays it up for Freeman, and it's incomplete. Or did he make the catch at the 15? Yes. What are they going to rule it? He caught it? Touchdown! He did what? Well, the Packers are going wild. The crowd's going wild. But let's see what it shows on the replay.
It never hit the ground. Watch it, right on the watch his left arm bring the ball up in the air, and he's 6 inches off the grass. What a unbelievable awareness!
And then there's no contact.
No, it's just a great fluky play for the Pack.
And it is another Manic Monday.
Remember, he talks about
careful. Russell in the pocket. Russell for Kearse, and it's broken up again. And is it? But somehow, did he wind up with a football?
I think Butler hit it, and it fell right back down to the ground. Unbelievable. That's exactly what happened, isn't it?
Well, Kearse goes for it. It's still not on the ground. It's still not on the ground. It's still. Well, look at that.
Oh my! I can't believe he didn't get up and get in the end zone in time.
And then Butler takes him out, so he breaks up the play. But at the end of the day, look at that. Does a juggling act. Has it at the 5, first and goal, 33 yards.
26-21 Green Bay. 5 minutes to go in the game.
This is big.
Dez Bryant wide to the left side. 4th down and 2.
And this could be the game.
At the Green Bay 32 with under 5 minutes in the game. Blitz is coming. He throws a deep ball to the left side, and the ball is Bryant. Caught the ball. How did you not know how Dez Bryant accomplished that physical feat?
Wow, you talk about confidence in the guy. Tony Romo had it there.
Oh my goodness.
You're the baddest motherfucker in the planet. If we don't score here, you got to go do it again.
A sensational catch, my goodness, by Dez Bryant over Sam Shields. Unbelievable.
They have thrown the challenge flag. What are they challenging?
I think they're challenging the catch.
Should be touchdown.
Hey, that's a catch.
Is that a touchdown though?
No, it was ball hit before he got the line.
Well, okay. Is he on the 1 though?
If he caught him.
I see the ball jarred loose, but it is not ever out of his control. I don't think the ball ever touches the ground.
There's no question the ball pops up, but I thought his hand was under it at the time.
I did too.
I got to see one that tells me something differently, you know?
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession of the football.
I tried to reach over the goal line. Why is that not a catch? I tried to reach over the goal line.
This is the end of a remarkable Dallas Cowboys season, and yet all there is to feel is disappointment.
We got the coverage we wanted, and we made the play. I caught it. I came down with it, and tried to reach for the goal line.
What was your level of disbelief when the call was overturned?
I don't even understand why it was even a challenge. Have you ever seen that rule before?
Calvin Johnson.
No. It wasn't like that. I'm reaching for the touchdown, trying to break the play.
Right.
Never seen nothing like it. Can't believe it. That's all I can say. I can't believe it. I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
Number 42. Blitz. Lost the football. It's on the ground. Covered by the Raiders.
His college teammate, Charles Woodson, on the blitz. Tom Brady never sees him coming from the front side. Greg Biekert recovers the fumble. Charles Woodson, first time today I've seen him come on a blitz.
Oh. The question is, did he pull it down? His arm was going forward, but was he throwing the football?
Well, the exact term I can't think of, but if you throw a pass, and as you're faking that pass, now watch, as you're faking the pass, if it slipped out of your hand, that would be an incomplete pass. But was it forced out by Charles Woodson? I don't think the recoil of the fake throw is what made it come out of Tom Brady's hand.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an incomplete pass. Second
know who Tom Brady is because of a tuck rule. There's no such thing as a tuck rule. If the ball is in your hand and I knock it out your hand, whether it's going backwards, forward, lateral, sideways, however it's coming out, that's a freaking fumble. But guess what we created? We created a freaking tuck rule. They don't go to that championship game if that tuck rule, if that ball is called a tuck. That's a fumble. Charles Wilson made that man clearly fumble the ball, and they named it a tuck rule, something that we've never heard in today's game. So now you got to ask yourself, when did the legacy really